Amnion means amnion. So before we go into the detail, we should first understand what is amnion. So through this picture, we can see the development of the embryo. Here this is the embryo. This is the primitive digestive tract. The embryo should have a amniotic cavity. This is the amniotic cavity. Now we should first see how this amniotic cavity is formed. It is only after the completion of the first trimester of pregnancy, that is in the first 3 months, the process of organogenesis is completed. That means the organs are being developed, and almost they developed till the end of first trimester. Now, in the second trimester, if we observe under the ultrasound the embryo, now this fetus is there. Digestive tract, you see that 4 membranes are being formed. They are known as extra-embryonic membranes. And the trophoblastic tissue that forms all these 4 membranes. And this one is yolk sac, second is allantois, third one is amnion, and fourth one is chorion. Now, this amnion and chorion, they originate from the anterior and posterior end of the fetus, whereas the allantois and yolk sac, they develop from primitive digestive tract. Now, this amnion and chorion, they have got 2 membranes. In chorion, the outermost is trophoblast ectoderm, then inner one is mesoderm. In amnion, the outermost, here you see that the mesoderm is outermost and the ectoderm is inside. Now, this is a fluid that is called amniotic fluid. Now, this fluid has got a specific function, and this amniotic cavity is found only in amniotes. That includes reptiles, birds, and mammals. The very specific reason to have this amnion is that the development is within the uterus, and this amniotic fluid acts as a cushion around this fetus. So it stops the fetus from desiccation. Second, any jerks or any bumping, that is all reduced or minimized by the presence of this amniotic fluid. Now we should also see what is there in the amniotic fluid. This maximum portion is water, and this water comes from baby's urine. That is a major contributor. And then it also comes from the mother's plasma. By ultrafiltration from the mother's plasma, the filtrates come and reach into the amniotic fluid. Then pulmonary secretion of the fetus, that also contributes a little bit. And this amniotic fluid has got certain cells which are derived from the skin, digestive and urinary tract, genitourinary tract, respiratory tract, and also from amnion. So this sac is already there in second trimester. Now, this technique, amniocentesis, is how and why it is being done. It is recommended especially in those families where the children born earlier, they have got some sort of chromosomal abnormalities or genetic diseases, or they have got, the female has got frequent miscarriages, incidences. And third one is that the paternity, in legal cases, the paternity is also decided, may be decided by this technique. Otherwise, basically, this technique was to prognose the neural tube defect to the fetus lungs development, and to ensure that is there any chromosomal or genetic disorder. So for that very purpose, if it is, the parents are told beforehand that these are the complications in the baby, and then accordingly the parents may be advised to take futuristic actions in consultation with the gynecologist. So the amniotic fluid contains, besides this, certain other nutritive components like protein, carbohydrate, lipids, and phospholipids. Certain hormones are there, antibodies are there, electrolytes are there, and the enzymes are also there. So the amniotic fluid also plays a nutritive role between mother and fetus, and certain nutrients they reach to the fetus for their futuristic development during the fetal development. Now, this amniotic fluid is taken up for the study only in the second trimester, that is from 15 to 20 weeks of pregnancy. If it is taken before 15 weeks, then there may be certain complications in the pregnant woman. So that period is divided, and this period of 15 to 20 weeks is preferred. Now, at the time of taking this amniotic fluid, under the ultrasound guidance, the positioning is conferred, and then the amniotic fluid is taken up with the help of a syringe. That takes around 2 to 3 minutes, and around 15 ml of amniotic fluid is sucked by the syringe. Now, this amniotic fluid contains the cells as well as the liquid portion. This amniotic fluid is now brought in the laboratory, where these contents are put up into a centrifuge tube. The centrifuge tube is put into a centrifuge, and through the centrifugation process, this content is swings under this centrifuge. So, after a certain time interval, the cells they get settled in this cone region at the bottom, and the liquid portion remains above these cells, and that is known as supernatant. Now, when this two fractions are there of the amniotic fluid, that is the supernatant and liquid portion, and the cells, which I have already told you where from these cells are coming. Now, they are now processed for various studies, like supernatant is used for biochemical studies. Like first one is the neural tube defect, that is known as anencephaly. Now, the neural tube, what happens that the two parameters are taken up for the spinal bifida study, where the spinal cord is not complete. So, these two, one is the protein, that is alpha fetus protein, AFP, that is estimated. Second one is acetylcholinesterase enzyme, that is also quantified. Because if there is something wrong in the neural tube maturation, then these chemicals, they leach out into the amniotic fluid, and their quantification signals that something is wrong in the neural tube maturation. Then the second parameter, which is fetal lung function. Because in fetus, if the lungs are not properly functioning, then there may be some sort of complications around the delivery period or at the time after the delivery. So the surfactants of the lungs, that is lecithin and sphingomyelin, these lipids are quantified, and the ratio is determined. If the ratio is either 2:1 or more than this, then that means the lung functions are proper, lung development has been completely come to the mark, and so there is no any risk to the lung functions. That way, the cells, and the second thing is that the what can also be checked by this fluid, and for that, if there are WBCs, the WBCs are processed for WBC with white cells, white blood cells, or leukocytes. They are called for differential leukocyte counts, that is granulocytes and agranulocytes. These cells are counted, and that way one can ensure that which sort of infection is there around the fetus, and that can be rectified by medication. So this was all about the biochemical parameters. Now the cells. Now once the cells have been collected in the centrifuge tube, they are taken out in the medium, and they are processed in the laboratory for plating, and the growth is ascertained. Thereafter, they are stained, the chromosomes are stained by using various dyes, and once they are stained, the chromosomes can be visualized under the light microscope at high resolution, high magnification, and that observation will give an idea of not only the aneuploidy, that is change in the number of chromosomes, but will also ensure the aberrations at the chromosomes. For the observations, the photograph is taken in the light microscope and the chromosomes are arranged just to have the karyotype of the chromosomal pattern, and then the aneuploidy can be seen in autosomes, or if they are sex linked, then the sex chromosomes, the changes can be observed, the numbers change can be observed. And chromosomal aberrations, the deletion, that is some part of the chromatid arm is deleted. That duplication, some part of the chromatid arm is duplicated. And then inversion, where the pattern of the traits or characters gets inverted. And then translocation, that is from one arm of the chromatid, the sites or traits are translocated to other homologous chromosome. And all these operations are being shown with the help of a diagram. Now the advanced technique is fluorescence in situ hybridization technique, that is known as FISH, fluorescent in situ hybridization, where the chromosomes are stained by the fluorescent dye, that is the fluorescent DNA probes are being utilized, and they specifically get adhered to the chromosomes, and that way the undetectable changes, which are very difficult in the routine conventional method of light microscopy, can also be visualized by using this FISH technique. And that way the chromosomal aneuploidy can also be confirmed. Whatever observations in the light microscopy, they are being ensured by using this FISH technique. Now, as you see that in aneuploidy, the numbers are being changed in the autosomes or in the sex chromosomes. And in autosomes, the Down syndrome, that is trisomy 21, that is in chromosome 21, is having an extra chromosome. Adverse syndrome, trisomy 18, where one chromosome is in excess. Then Pattern syndrome, that is trisomy 13, that has got one extra chromosome. And that is all confined in autosomes. And there are certain change in the numbers of the chromosomes. In sex chromosome, the Turner syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome, where one extra X is there. Super males and super females, they have got extra chromosomes. In Turner syndrome, one chromosome is less. So that way, these sort of aneuploidies can be visualized by the routine conventional light microscopic cytogenetical studies as well as by FISH technique, just to ensure or ascertain the findings, and then these findings are almost 100% accurate. Third and most advanced technique, that is microarray technique, where the cells are already there in the laboratory. The cells are from the amniotic fluid, and then the DNA is extracted from these cells. Finally, the DNA samples are loaded into the microarray slides, where the wells already contain the array of DNA sequence, and then there is interaction with the newly added cells DNA sequence as well as the already existing DNA sequence, the whole genome that is there in the wells. Then the slides are scanned and the fluorescence intensity is quantified. Molecular level can be ascertained by this microarray technique. So nowadays the light microscopic conventional method gives an idea, and the FISH and microarray ensures the 100% accuracy and at the molecular level also, and that way a final conclusion is drawn and the parents of the children of the fetus is advised accordingly to take futuristic action if these reports are not known. Nowadays, these cells present in the amniotic fluid, they are also considered to be the stem cells because they have got pluripotency, and that is the feature of a stem cell, that if given proper and desired environment for the growth and differentiation of the cells, pluripotent cells, then they can develop into desired cells of specific organ, like neuronal cells and hepatocytes and others. So in stem cell therapy, these cells can be used, they can be stored as at liquid nitrogen, that is cryopreservation at minus 192 degrees Celsius. These cells can be stored for futuristic use. But these are all the plus points to prognose the disease of the fetus already developing into the uterus, and to take the action accordingly if there is some sort of developmental abnormality or chromosomal abnormality, or at the genetical level there is some sort of changes. But now there is also one plus point, that paternity is also being decided by these methods, wherein the real father of the fetus can be ascertained by doing simply the DNA fingerprinting, by which the DNA of the fetus can be matched with the suspected fathers, and whosoever has got a matching with the fetal DNA, then the paternity is decided. That's for litigation cases and for disputes to decide the paternity. But the negative point is that if the amniocentesis is done before second trimester, then there may be complications. Second point is that the child sex can also be determined beforehand, before the delivery of the child. And if the child is female, then parents who have already got female child in their family, they try to abort it. So that way the ratio will get disbalanced, and that is totally prohibited as per law by the government of India, and that is not permitted at all by using this technique of amniocentesis. So the sex determination is a very, very illegal approach that is not permissible. Otherwise, this technique is very good to prognose the fetal abnormality, developmental abnormality, as well as chromosomal abnormalities and the changes at that molecular level.